Hello everyone, welcome back to the Drifter Saloon. My name is Ven Corbin, your host here, and we are going over our first ever featured superstar. This is my first ever video for Champions related content, so I'm hoping that I can at least start off with something a little bit more unique and add to the overwhelmingly awesome community that is the WWE Champions community. That being said, we're not doing a character preview here. There won't be any gameplay. This is strictly talking about the character after the fact. We'll be doing this once a week for the featured superstar of that weekend. The previous weekend being stunning Steve Austin. We are going to be doing essentially a rating of the character from my perspective. You can already see the lovely individuals who decided to participate have a score next to their name. We're counting them as the community. We have some bigger and smaller content creators on there as well. So overall, I'm going to start by jumping straight into this. I'm going to give my personal review and then my personal rating of Steve Austin, and then after that I'll go through their scores as well as some notes I have. I will not be saying what the notes are or who they're from, but I'll be going over them as far as the critiques go. So for me, stunning Steve Austin, very solid character, really good striker. It's nice to have another Stone Cold character out there. That was the point where I wanted to use Stone Cold. I'm very excited to see another Steve Austin character. And the uniqueness of the striker. The other striker Stone Cold we have is not very great comparatively to this one, so we actually have a striker Steve Austin that we can be very happy and proud of. That being said, and I will be keeping these videos very short, under 10 minutes, but I do want to throw out there one other thing. I've watched a lot of reviews for this character, and the fact that he can deal so much damage, obviously as strikers do, it is overwhelmingly positive that he's going to swing in the higher echelon of the ratings. But there are others out there that I feel do a better sense of damage and have more versatility. He's a little bit slower than I would anticipate him being, and that makes him kind of struggle versus who we would prefer to play with whenever it comes out to being a character of that kind. So, stunning Steve Austin has a lot that he can do, and we could probably see more of him down the line once we see more playability, but we want to go off the first impression of this character, and I'm going to give him probably about an 8. I don't want to do halvesies or anything like that. I'm going to stick around that. I think an 8 is a very good, solid score for this superstar, but that's about that. All right, let's get into the fun part, where I asked multiple people to send me their scores, and if they wanted to, a little bit of critique, in which case I had quite a few send me. And I'm not going to go over the names, but obviously we have 2 back-to-back 9s, a 10, an 8, a 10, an 8, a 9, an 8, an 8, an 8. So it does feel like there's a lot of 8s out there. People are seeing that stunning Steve Austin didn't quite have that push that we see a lot of other characters have right off the get-go. But that's okay, because we also have some notes to go over. And I'm going to start from the top. These are not in line with the person. I wanted to keep these relatively anonymous, as well as the score is also going to be anonymous too. So please don't send any hate for anybody on this list. Don't try to go and attack them. Don't try to jump down their throats, because they took time to send us these scores in these notes. So the first one I have is he's a top tier, but not Macho and Seth good. So okay, but not the greatest. The next one I have is, also when I go through these, I'm going to try to keep like an X. I'm going to say X for what they rated their score, so you can't directly tie it to them. But I don't really know where he fits in right now. I know he's a fancy version of Alpha. That's been my take on him. I know people like this Juggernaut gem side of things, and with a skip strap, he apparently has some massive upturn viability. It's true. If you have a skip turn strap, he becomes much better. But that's also being very strap reliant. So I like the fact that this person rated off the fact of them just being the superstar on their own. Next, we have the only strikers I think are legitimately better are Macho King due to not pushing the pin bar if he doesn't want to, and Hall of Fame Hogan. He's in the conversation for the top 3 strikers in the game with that 3.4 million damage that he does. I think he edges out Triple H as well due to hitting so hard. He's going to end matches fast. True. But Triple H is a favorite for a lot of people who have him, so it'd be very hard to kind of see if Triple H is better than stunning Steve Austin. Macho is very much... Everybody's mentioned how much Macho is up and heads over Steve Austin. Next one we have is, while incredibly powerful, he can do well over 4 million on the second turn. He can't do much until turn 2 or 3 if you ain't lucky, so in the current meta, he could kill by turn 1. he could get killed by a turn 1 guy before he can get anything off. So I can't place him over X since his first turn can't be a win in any case. True. If you can't get off that turn 1, that's going to become quite a struggle. And we know this. We've seen this before. I was able to pop off 5 million damage in an attack with him. Very hard not to call that out. But I can say with certainty he is not as good as a few others, so I don't know if that makes him an X or not. So that's what I meant by I put that in there, so you can't really know what they scored him. It could be any of the higher numbers, but the fact that you can do 3 million with common trainers is nuts with him. That's not playing a long haul game with him either. True. The fact that you can have very basic trainers on Austin and have him still hit very hard is refreshing, because that means that they're not locking a tier 1 superstar behind the trainers. They're locking a tier 1 superstar behind nothing, essentially. Well, maybe the strap. I think the strap also comes into play. And then lastly, but not least, we have another comment saying, good for stipulation tours with the BPP build, but a little lower with AFA and Snoop in that bracket. So when you're doing those kind of tours, or if you're doing stipulation tours, obviously AFA and Snoop are going to be able to produce those stipulation tours a little bit better. So here's the fun part. I actually had this set up to where you couldn't see this from the get-go. I'm going to now take this and reveal. He is an 8.7 according to the statistics that we have here. 8.7. So a little bit over 8.5, not quite a 9. Kind of fluctuating in between there. Still pretty solid for our first showing, right? We can't really argue that kind of setup. And then lastly, I want to introduce my rating system. So I do have a rating system in place. What this essentially means is if they scored a 9 or 10, they're tier 1. If they get 6 through 8, tier 2, 3 through 5, tier 3. And if they're a 1 or a 2, they're basically fodder. I put fodder and stuff like that in place in case I go back and rate older superstars. I want to have this rating system have kind of a variety, and we can like go back and kind of see if it's foolproof for future conversations. But 8.7 puts him, technically according to this, it'd be tier 2. But I want to put the 0.7 out there. It does slightly put him above half, so if there was a tier list that was reflecting this, he would be about a tier 1.5. Now, of course, I don't run any of the tier list sheets, so we have, Twilight Bats, we have Haven, those are the two that I follow quite consistently. I'm not saying I'm putting this out here to help them out with rating and stuff like that. I just want a first impression out there to be visible about the characters. And so Stunning Steve Austin would be a tier 1.5. He'd be a tier 1.5, not quite tier 1, but not quite tier 2. And overall, I'm very happy with the way that this came about and the way that these reviews went. Not a terribly long video either, so I appreciate everyone who took time to do their ratings. Hopefully we'll have more. This sheet will actually be more filled out. I have the column there that's blank to show that I'm going to do another character here soon for the featured coming up, and so on and so forth. So if you like this kind of content, let me know. If I can do something better, I'm always open to criticism. This is my first ever video of doing this, so let me know what you liked or what you disliked, and I will try to make edits and make it a little bit more content friendly moving forward. If you have any other questions, you can reach me on Discord and or my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/VenCorbin. And I appreciate all the wonderful people that were able to help me with this one, and I cannot wait to do the next. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and I will see you folks on the next one. Take it easy.